How do you find the will to fight back against a world that wants to keep you sedated, average, and stuck in plates? Join us for the tools and strategies you need to create a life of abundance, discipline, and high achievement. This is the Tactical Empire with Jeff Smith.
Welcome to another episode of the Tactical Empire. I am here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I wanted to get you guys an episode out. I've been traveling like crazy. Last week, I was in Chicago. We had our Tinker Mastermind, our higher level fitness business owner mastermind, followed by 2 days of the Two Brains Summit. So I had to lead our mastermind on Friday, and then 2 days of summit with speakers. Dan Martell was there, and there's some other great, fantastic speakers and people from the Two Brain staff. So it was a good weekend, exhausting weekend. Lots of interaction, lots of like on the go. I mean, I used to think I was an extrovert, but it really takes it out of me to be at those events. So it was a lot. So I'm a little bit introverted, I feel like. So that's probably why I spend all my time alone when I'm not at these events. But so I went home, spent some time with the family, and then I flew out to Scottsdale for a real estate mastermind. So I'm here. That's what I'm involved in right now. Today's Saturday when we're filming this. And we are in day 2 of the Mr. Texas Real Estate Mastermind, which is really a great program. It's a mastermind I've been a part of for 5 years now. And they buy real estate all over the country, but predominantly in Texas. We're out in Phoenix just having a good time and also learning. Their model is really, really good as far as conservatively teaching you how to acquire single-family homes and build a rental portfolio. They've asked me to speak today, so I am kicking off day 2 at 10 a.m. And so humbled by the opportunity, but I wanted to kind of talk about, that's the topic we were going to discuss today, which is what the same thing I'm going to talk to them about. So yesterday I sat in a room with a bunch of people that are perfectly capable of building a lifestyle that they desire through real estate investing. And I know we talk a lot about that. I teach about it. I have an entire group based on it. But what I saw in that room was typical of what I see all over when even with business owners. And so the question I wanted to pose, and I will pose for them, but I wanted to pose it for you today, is ultimately, what is holding you back? Right? Like, you are perfectly capable of transforming your life into anything you want it to be. So I sat in a room with people yesterday who have all the intelligence. They have enough money to be investing. They have enough capabilities to get themselves started, to changing their lives and their family's future. Most of them were scared, and the whole opportunity, the whole education came with a sense of trepidation, like, but what if, and so as I sat there and I looked around, and this is the same thing that you're probably asking yourself, like, what is holding you back? Like, is it fear? Is it past failures? Is it the what ifs? Like, we shared some stories yesterday between Robert and Jason, who run the group, and myself. We both got hit for over $100,000 in repairs when we had a freeze in Houston. So like, I ended up spending like $125,000 cash, and they ended up spending something like 160, 175. And so because we didn't qualify for insurance because the deductibles were too high, most of the repairs were $5,000 pops, right? And so, I mean, it was a big deal. And when you don't have experience in something, like, that sounds like devastating. And so you look around the room and some of these people won't take the first step to setting up their financial future because of something that happened to us that sounds very scary, right? But what you have to realize is that there's not the alternative is staying the same, right? The alternative is that you continue to do what you do and you go to work every day. You continue down the same path leading Groundhog Day. And you don't take steps to grow. You don't take steps to take control of your life through your personal responsibility. Are things going to go wrong? Yes, things are going to go wrong. Are you going to be scared sometimes? Probably, right? I mean, that's some of us in business and life have lived scared shitless for periods of time. And there's it comes along with the territory of growing and growing into something that is the unknown. So all of those fears and all of those what ifs, like what if I take a call at 2 a.m. because a pipe burst or something like that, like they're never as bad as you make them out to be. And so you guys that are sitting on the sidelines, not doing things, not investing, not changing your behavior, not creating new habits for yourself, not getting in shape, not leading your family the way you want to be leading your family, or you should. You're holding yourself back because of all these what ifs or I'll start tomorrow. There is literally no time to start tomorrow. Like today is the day that you should change everything. And ultimately, it's because right now your life is dictated by probably outside factors. And so for me, like freedom is a core value of mine, and I am very cognizant about taking control of my life in every aspect that I can. Now there's outside factors and things like that that play a role in how much freedom I have, right? But for me, I am passionate about moving the needle in that direction as much as I possibly can. And part of that is like really understanding where your money's coming from, like having assets to fall back on. Like a lot of people have W-2 jobs. A lot of people have corporate jobs, which I had a corporate job for a very long time. And so there's nothing wrong with it. What you need to understand, though, if you're telling yourself there's a lot of security and safety in that, you're absolutely wrong. Because any given Friday at 4:00, they could give you your last and final notice that you work there. And so for me, that would make me scared shitless, because to understand that you're getting used to this lifestyle. And I say that because I've lived this lifestyle. Like that's how I spent my 20s and 30s, working for a corporation and getting a paycheck and expanding my lifestyle to just right on the tipping point of that paycheck. Right. And you get used to it and you live that life. That's why it's called golden handcuffs. And that's why people like relax into complacency with regards to that life. But what you have to understand is that like you're at the mercy of their decision-making process at that point. And so for me, like looking back on it, it's so crystal clear, but I understand when you're in it, it's a little more difficult. There is safety and security, there's benefits, there's like healthcare, all that stuff you have to account for. And I mean, that's where this podcast came from as far as the tactical empire. I want you to build your empire, but tactically do it. I'm not a burn the boats guy. And I'm not go in and turn in your paperwork and quit tomorrow because now you're a full-time real estate investor or some shit. Like, I think that's irresponsible, especially if you have a bunch of kids and stuff like that. But I mean, I tell everybody you can get out of that rat race in 2 to 7 years, depending on where you're at financially, and sometimes faster. Some people are sitting on enough money to do it right now. They just can't flip the switch mentally. And so really, when you think about that fear that you have and you can call it whatever you want, but the recognition of the fact that you're not changing your behaviors or you're not changing your life to move in the direction of the life that you desire, it could be fear, it could be whatever, right? But there is the alternative is just doing the same thing and staying in the same life. And so for me, ultimately, I think when we're all dead and gone, sitting on our deathbed, like the biggest thing that you're going to have to deal with is any regrets that you have, any regrets of like shots not taken, any regrets of like, why did I spend 45 years at that job waiting for this swan song and this retirement to play out when I could have lived my life the way I wanted to the whole time, or for much longer, many, many more years. That's why I think the system is a total scam with regards to like, hey, show up, pump your money into a 401k, do the same thing over and over, day in, day out for 45 years, and we'll promise you this great exit package. It's a bunch of shit. Like that is the biggest lie told to people in our current Western world. Like, go to college, pipeline through these companies. Fortunately, I think the younger guys are figuring it out because there's so much more volatility in the job market. But people my age in their 40s, 30s, like they're starting to open their eyes to it too, because they're seeing that there's no loyalty in the corporate world, or there's no loyalty in a lot of these jobs for the most part. And so, I mean, that's why if I was going to be an employee, I would hitch my wagon to a small business and go just add immense amount of value and become a linchpin in that organization, because you can get rewarded handsomely, much more so than you can in like the big Fortune 500 companies. Now, I mean, you can get rewarded handsomely there as well, but so don't get me wrong, but having a stake in a small business or a medium-sized business where you can truly make a difference and move the needle, like that's where I would participate if I was going to work for someone else. But back to the question ultimately of like, what is holding you back? And I want you guys to get off the fence on this and go chase the life that you desire, because and this is in any area. I mean, we audit this stuff in our inner circle all the time, but like any area of your life that you feel like is causing you friction or holding you back, like you need to really examine that and determine why you're doing the same thing over and over again. Right. And that's the definition of insanity. So if you're unhappy with any portion of your life, if you're feeling insecure with any portion of your life, if the world burning down in front of us is giving you too much stress, then I would suggest you have some deep thoughts about like what gives you safety and security and what's going to move you in that direction. And ultimately, I mean, I talk about money all the time, but money's just a tool. It's an amplifier of who you are ultimately. And it is a vehicle for doing more of what you choose to do as opposed to being at the whim of someone else. Right. For me, the definition of like true wealth, like I've got fuck you money, is like being able to take care of any of my family members at any point in time and provide any sort of medical care anywhere in the world at any cost to take care of whatever issue they have. And that's what I'm chasing. And I won't stop until I get to that point. So ultimately for you, you have to define what that looks like for you. Because I mean, money is not important until you need it, ultimately. But if you think of any area that you're being held back in, I want you to ask yourself and question yourself why. And then truly like what the worst case scenario is, because you're not going to fail. I mean, you may fail, but it's just a lesson learned. Like, I mean, in business, we fail all the time. We fail daily. And you have to understand that it's not a failure until you stop or until you quit, right? The other failure would be the failure of regret and never getting started. So ultimately, if you have a vision for your life and you want to go somewhere else and you want to change something and you want to have a different lifestyle, you want to make more money, you want to provide more experiences for your family, like, you have to start. You have to start changing. And that's the first step, is just take that step. And I promise everything will change for you, because you have the capabilities to solve all the problems. You have the capabilities that, as long as you don't take a risk that can be like catastrophic and ruin you, like, everything is recoverable, right? I post all the time, different levels, different devils. Like, you guys that are starting out, like, you're just getting started with a level of production or a level of stepping out of your comfort zone. So there will be devils. And what that means is there's going to be shit go wrong. And expect it, embrace it, and learn from it. That's why gratitude's so important as well. Like, when those things happen, when those setbacks happen, when the left turns occur that you didn't expect, just laugh at them and be grateful that you have the opportunity to deal with them, because all it's doing is making you better. It's building your skill set. It's building your tools. It's making you more resilient as a human as you move in this direction of ultimate freedom of, like, your life, what you want, what you choose for yourself and your family, and the lessons that you're going to be able to take to them. Like, every setback I have, every time, like, I get sued or whatever happens, I mean, I think of it as an opportunity to impart that knowledge on my kids someday. I'm going to be able to teach them the issues that are going on and the lessons learned that I've learned through business and investing and people and all these other opportunities. If you look at things as an opportunity to learn and grow, then they're never the setbacks that you perceive them to be. So I just wanted to leave you with that today. What is holding you back? Think about that today. And if there's something that I can help you with, send me a message. DM me. I'd love to fucking talk about it. But don't let fear hold you back, because ultimately, at the end of the day, like I said, the only thing you're going to have is, you don't want to be burdened with all these regrets of opportunities missed, shots not taken, right? So go out there and take your shot, build a life that your family can embrace and have just as much fun, as many experiences as possible. We're here for a short time. So go get everything that you want.
Thank you for listening to the show. Make sure you subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend. We'll see you on the next episode of the Tactical Empire.